Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are putting our emotions on the line because we are tackling episode 8 of Singles Inferno. And look, usually we talk about strategy or, subtle shifts in power, but this time, the entire island's dynamic just completely flipped on its head.
It really did.
Yeah.
If you thought you knew who was holding the cards, episode 8 essentially says, think again. It takes the whole established hierarchy, puts it in a blender, and honestly, just forgets to put the lid on. It is so messy.
Exactly. We're looking at a literal masterclass in how to fumble a sure thing, and conversely, how to spot a genuine connection when it finally hits you in the face. We have fresh source material today, dissecting everything from the paradise picks to the absolute chaos of the dates that followed.
And the mission here for you listening is pretty clear. We need to dissect the cringe. And I mean visceral, painful, look away from the screen kind of cringe. Plus, the surprising emotional maturity we saw from some unexpected places.
Oh, for sure.
And of course, the absolute disaster of trying to date one person while obsessing over someone else.
It is messy, it is awkward, and it is fascinating. So let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Okay, so to set the stage, we are dealing with the fallout of the Survivor Island concept. The men had to pre-select their dates via these mailbox tickets, and our source material highlights just how brutal the system actually is.
Oh, it is psychologically rough. You have the women standing there making their public choices, thinking they have some sort of agency, but in reality,
They don't.
right, they don't. If the guy didn't pre-select them, they were walking right into a public rejection. It's a classic information asymmetry problem. The men hold all the cards here, and the women are essentially gambling with their dignity.
Which is exactly what happened to Yejin and Han. I mean, Yejin picks Egon, Han picks Jaejin, and just crickets. They didn't get picked back.
It's devastating because they don't just get told no privately. They make their declaration, and then production just reveals they didn't match. It's a very passive, yet incredibly humiliating form of rejection.
Yeah, it's evil.
It really confirms that if a guy didn't put a ticket in your mailbox, you never had a chance. The silence basically does the rejecting for them.
But then we get the surprises, right? Ju Young. She steps up. Now we know she has this massive crush on Jae-jin, but who does she actually pick? Jae.
This is such a pivotal moment. The source notes that Ju Young pivoted from a crush to someone who has been absolutely devoted to her. And there's a tactical advantage here that the source brings up, the Chinese language connection.
Oh, right. The moment she found out Jae speaks Chinese, she practically sprinted toward him. It's that common ground, that secret language they share now.
Exactly. It creates an immediate intimacy. When you are in a foreign environment or a high-pressure environment like this island, finding someone who speaks your code is incredibly grounding. It accelerates the bond. And honestly, it was time. Hyunjae has been so loyal. Seeing them go to paradise feels like a reward for his persistence.
Speaking of strategy, though, let's talk about Mina Sue. Because she chooses Sungil. Now, I have to be honest, I really thought she was going back to Subin after they made up in the last episode.
That's what a lot of people expected. The narrative arc was practically begging for a reunion. But look at the game theory here. The source suggests this was a purely defensive move.
Oh.
Yeah, she likely feared that Subin wouldn't pick her back. If she picks Subin and he picks Heesun, Minasu looks foolish. So she picks the safe option.
Sungil, the guy who has been pursuing her relentlessly. She knew for a fact he picked her. It's literally an insurance policy.
It's risk mitigation.
Yeah.
But as we'll see later, treating a human being as a safety net usually comes back to bite you. She's prioritizing her ego-avoiding rejection over any actual connection.
And then we get the move of the episode, Heesun. She steps up and she picks Subin, and she says something in her confessional that I just loved. She basically says, I know he's torn, but that's just because he hasn't been to paradise with me yet.
That is confidence. That is exactly the energy you want to see. She correctly assessed the situation. She bet on herself.
Yeah.
It's high self-efficacy. She believes she is the variable that changes the equation.
Yeah.
And the big reveal. Subin picked her back.
Yes. The king made the right choice. Honestly, if he had picked Mina Sue after all that flirting with Heesun, I think I would have thrown my notes across the room.
I would have joined you.
Yeah.
But it validates Heesun's intuition perfectly.
Yeah.
She knew there was something there even without the fancy date. She read those subtle cues correctly where others might have second-guessed themselves.
But of course, production cannot let us have nice things without a little drama. They put everyone on a helicopter.
Right.
And who is on this helicopter? The two couples, Heesun and Subin, and Mina Sue and Sung-il.
This is where the trouble starts immediately. You have a confined space, very high tension, and Mina Sue makes a choice here that basically sets the tone for the rest of this deep dive.
It was so painful. She opens a conversation, ostensibly with everyone, but she turns and says, "Last time I was here with Subin. Now it's reversed."
Think about that for a second. You are sitting next to your date, Sung-il. You are strapped in thigh to thigh in a helicopter, and your opening line is about your nostalgic past with the other guy sitting directly across from you.
It's wild.
It's a complete disregard for the person you're actually with.
And she uses it to just keep talking to Subin. Meanwhile, Hee-sun is just looking out the window, totally unbothered, acting like she's on a solo vacation, and Sung-il is just pouting, and honestly, I don't blame him at all.
He's realizing right there on the helicopter that he isn't the priority, he's the placeholder, he's the rebound before the breakup has even happened. It's a terrible feeling.
So they finally land in paradise. And we have to talk about the date that the source material literally says took 40 minutes to get through because of the secondhand embarrassment.
Oh boy. We are talking about Hunwoo and Go-yeon. This is the cringe portion of the deep dive.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's unpack this. Go-yoon chose him because of his persistence and that trench ball reward date.
Yeah.
She wanted to give him a shot. She was genuinely open to it.
Right. And on paper, it starts okay. They're in the pool, they're holding hands. It's, as the source says, very couple-coded. Visually, they look great together. But then Hyun-woo's communications software just seems to glitch.
He gets stuck in a loop. He just keeps calling her cute over and over again. You're cute. That's cute. So cute. It's like he completely lost the ability to use any other adjective in the Korean language.
It's the malfunctioning robot syndrome.
Yeah.
But the real issue here is the lack of depth. It's the halo effect gone terribly wrong. He is so overwhelmed by her physical appearance that he entirely stops engaging with her mind. Gun-hoon even gives him an opening. She says she's not 100% sure about her feelings. That is a massive cue for him to deepen the connection, to show who he really is.
And instead, he pulls out the note.
The note.
He wrote down what he likes about her. And I want you listening to hear this list because it is tragic. Small face, nice skin, nice hair, pretty smile.
It is entirely superficial. It's an inventory list. It sounds like he's describing a doll, not a person. There is nothing in there about her personality, her humor, her resilience, nothing about her.
You can see the disappointment on her face. She hears compliments about her face all day long. She wanted substance. But he just keeps going.
He doesn't read the room at all. He doesn't see that she's checking out. He genuinely thinks he's nailing it. Yeah. And then comes the absolute climax of the awkwardness.
The hair, he tucks her hair back behind her ear and says, "Even your ears are cute."
And that is when Go-yoon hits the absolute limit. She literally tells him, "You're so weird. Stop. I'm cringing."
I'm cringing. She said the quiet part out loud. Usually people just laugh nervously and let it slide, but she physically rejected the compliment. And he still keeps going.
This is a classic example of projecting a fantasy onto someone rather than engaging with the reality of who they actually are. He's so busy performing romance, or at least what he thinks romance looks like, that he misses the actual human being sitting in front of him who is begging for a normal conversation.
It was a disaster, a total fumble. He had the girl, he had the date, and he talked himself right out of it. But thankfully, we do have a palate cleanser. Let's pivot to Hyun-jae and Ju-young.
Yes.
Oh.
This was the romance done right segment, or as I like to call it, Secure Attachment 101.
Completely different vibe. First of all, Hyun-jae is driving. The source makes a joke about Paradise looking like a GTA map, which is hilarious. But him driving just set this tone of capability.
It's about control and ease. And we learn a bit about his background. He's in IT, web design, and yes, he went to a Chinese elementary school. But the key moment is the conversation they have in the car. Ji-young feels guilty. She admits she's been talking to other guys while he's been solely focused on her. She's bracing for jealousy.
And his response, it should be printed in a textbook. He says, "You don't have to worry. I only pursued you because I only like you." And then he adds this line that I think won over the entire audience. He goes, "As long as I'm on your mind, that's enough."
That is pure security.
Yeah.
That is how you create a safe container for a relationship. He's not demanding reciprocity. He's stating his position without any pressure. It's attentive. It's natural. He's essentially saying, I am here. I am solid. You figure out what you need to figure out.
It's such a stark contrast to Hunwoo's desperate compliment bombing earlier. Hyun-jae isn't trying to take anything from her. He's just offering himself.
And that solidity allows Ju-young to actually relax. It's a huge green flag. It shifts the entire dynamic from chasing to just being.
But now we have to get to the main event, the date we have been waiting for all season, Subin and Hee-sun. The face card meets the brain.
Finally. And the chemistry here is intellectual just as much as it is physical.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is where the whole season shifts.
We finally find out Hee-sun's background. She's 23, so she's young, but she's studying at Carnegie Mellon University in the U.S. Information systems, data analytics. She's interning at a cosmetics company. She's incredibly accomplished.
And you can see Subin's reaction in real time. The source describes him as stunned. He is visibly impressed. And this changes the dynamic completely. Up until now, she was just a pretty, fun option. Now, she's a peer. Maybe even intellectually intimidating in the best way possible.
And Subin drops a comment that I honestly think was a little bit of shade. He says he feels most comfortable with her and that other conversations drain him.
I think we all know exactly who he's talking about there. He's contrasting the high-maintenance emotional labor of dealing with Minasu's indecision and constant anxiety against the pure ease of being with Hee-sun.
And they have that cute age moment. She teases him about being older, but it turns out he's actually older by 1 year. The vibes are just immaculate. Hair drying, face masks, giggling. It feels so real.
It feels like a genuine partnership. It's compatible. It's not just pure tension anymore. It's friendship mixed heavily with attraction. He realizes that a relationship doesn't have to be hard work. It can just be fun.
Which perfectly brings us to the relationship that is all hard work. The absolute train wreck that was happening simultaneously. Minasu and Sung-il.
The date that wasn't. Or perhaps the third wheel date where the third wheel is actually a ghost.
I mean, poor Sung-il. He's 24, younger than Minasu. She looks disappointed immediately. But the real problem is that Minasu spends her entire date with Sung-il talking about Subin.
It's obsessive. It's a complete lack of object permanence in a way.
Yeah.
She cannot focus on the present reality because her anxiety is entirely tied to the person who isn't there. She is physically in paradise with Sung-il, but mentally she is back in Inferno or analyzing Subin's every move.
And then production decides to wake up and choose violence. They send the two couples to the bowling alley together.
A group date in paradise. We haven't seen this before. And it was a complete recipe for disaster.
It really was. Because the second they are in the same room, Minasu ignores Sung-il completely. The source describes her body language as cat rubbing against Subin.
It's highly territorial. She is marking her territory. She's brushing up against him, focusing entirely on him. It's incredibly disrespectful to Sung-il, who is standing right there next to them. She's treating him like invisible furniture.
And Sung-il really tries. He tries to pivot the conversation back to their date at dinner. He asks Hee-sun and Subin what drew them to each other, clearly trying to change the subject to something polite and normal. And Minasu complains. She literally says, "Why aren't you asking why I chose Sung-il?"
But the kicker is, she doesn't use that opportunity to compliment Sung-il. She uses it to explain her storyline with Subin all over again. She hijacks the conversation to talk about her history with the other guy. She wants to be the main character so badly that she forgets she's on a date with someone else.
It's so painful to watch, but it somehow gets worse. Back at the hotel, the spying incident.
This was shocking. This is where it went from awkward to borderline unethical.
Hee-sun and Subin are in the pool. They're having a moment. Minasu is upstairs in her room, and she is literally pressed against the hotel window just watching them.
It's voyeuristic. It shows a complete lack of boundaries and self-control. But the cinematography here from the crew is brutal. You have Minasu watching the couple in the pool, and in the background, out of focus, you have Sung-il watching Minasu watch them.
Talk about layers of awkwardness. He is watching his date obsess over another couple. It's deeply humiliating for him.
And this is exactly where the power dynamic shifts. Sung-il realizes what is happening. He realizes he is just an extra in Minasu's movie. He sees the utter lack of respect.
So he finally confronts her, or at least he asks a question that leads to a confrontation. He asks a hypothetical. If you won paradise again, who would you pick?
Which is a totally fair question. He wants to know where he stands. And her answer, Sung-hoon.
Sung-hoon, a pity pick. She said she'd pick him because she feels bad for him. She doesn't say Sung-il. She doesn't say Sumin. She picks a random third option entirely out of pity.
And this is where Sung-il really shows his character. He pushes back. He tells her that taking someone out of pity is actually disrespectful. He says, I only take people I want to know.
He is calling her out. He's basically saying, we have different values. You treat people like charity cases or safety nets. I treat people with intention. And Minasu does not take it well at all. She snaps, you don't have to tell me what to do.
But he wasn't telling her what to do. He was explaining his own standard of respect. He was setting a firm boundary. And at that exact moment, Sung-il completely checks out.
He drops a hammer. He says, I enjoyed our time, but I want to go back to Inferno.
That is a resignation. He is done. He chased her for so long, but once he actually got the time with her, he realized the reality didn't match the fantasy. Her behavior, the spying, the constant talk of Subin, the pity-pick comment, it killed the attraction dead.
It's a total collapse for Mina Su's strategy. She wanted a safety net, and the safety net just walked away because she treated it like dirt.
And meanwhile, downstairs, Subin is making it very clear to Hisun in the pool that he has solidified his feelings. He says he can only focus on one person now. The message is loud and clear. His attention is no longer on Minasu.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, where do we actually stand? Hyunjae and Ju Young are sweet, but Jaejin is still a factor there. Hanwoo crashed and burned in spectacular fashion. Subin and Hisun are clearly the new power couple. And Mina Su has alienated Songil, and she might be entirely losing Subin.
She played the game way too hard, and she forgot about the human element. She forgot that the other pieces on the board have feelings too.
The episode ends with this really poignant image. They are on the boat back to Inferno. Hisun isn't feeling well. Subin is holding her hand to comfort her, and Mina Su is just watching from afar.
It's a visual representation of the consequences of her actions. She's on the outside looking in. She spent so much time worrying about losing Subin that she guaranteed it happened by ignoring the person she was actually with.
So here's the thought I want to leave you all with today. We talk a lot about being true to your feelings in modern dating. Mina Su was quote-unquote honest about her feelings for Subin. She didn't hide them. Even on her date with So Il, she practiced what some might call radical honesty.
Right. But there is a line.
Exactly. Where is the line between being true to your feelings and just being straight up rude? Was Mina Su's honesty actually just a lack of basic decency toward the person she was with?
It's a great question to leave on. Honesty without empathy can just be cruelty. And I think we saw that play out in real time. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to subject everyone around you to it, especially when it hurts the person sitting right next to you.
Definitely something for you to mull over. Remember to focus on substance over cute ears, everyone. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next time.